I took the hoodie off, and I saw a few like shinning and grinning kind of chuckles,
Yep.
but I tried really hard not to, and I almost derailed and focused on one dude who was like laughing, but I looked above everybody. I wasn't looking at any of them in the eyes.
Was it laughing at you or laughing with you?
It ain't that I can't stop, it's that I won't stop. I made a few plays off a flip, now I'm on top. I'm Southside Chief, homie, yeah. What you know about it? Lake Street legend CEO, not the co-founder. What you wanna know about me? I'm so churched up, I'm the last man standing, but I went first up. Most hated, they don't say it when I roll up. The things that people say about me, they don't say close up. Check it.
Are you ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. Another episode of Minnesota's #1 daily show live on Lake Street. Special guest in the building, Alex Mingus.
Hello.
Welcome, sir. So we were talking just a moment off the mic about how you're a busy guy.
Yeah.
But let's get rid of this white supremacy, man.
Yeah.
So, okay, so first thing I want to ask you before we get into the actual discussion of
Sure.
how you're doing that and all that, is it weird to sit here and talk to a white man about getting rid of white supremacy or not really?
No, because I would assume that you're not
A white supremacist?
that,
I am not.
and I would assume that you're anti-racist.
I am in agreement with you that we
Yeah.
definitely need to rid the world of white supremacy.
Yeah. And so no, I don't, because like if I can say I can't stand white people in front of you, you understand.
Yeah. Can I say that too?
Yeah.
Because that is I've said that before, and that is how I feel. But I feel like people misconstrue when I say that. Like I'm like anti my own.
No, and but you need to be the ones doing that.
That's kinda how I feel,
and having
right?
those conversations.
Yeah, that's how
I'm
I feel.
fucking tired, and I don't. It's not my job to.
Yeah.
We wouldn't ask rape victims to help change rape culture.
Man, that
So
real shit.
So I lean on a lot of the white presenting people in my community to do that work.
Yeah. I think that's important, right? Because I mean, like, well, white privilege exists, right? Whether we like it or not, it exists. So let's try and find a way to use it for good.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean? Like if you're the white guy in a car with your 3 black friends,
Yeah.
and you get pulled over by the police,
You're talking.
you're the representative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
your job to make sure everybody leaves there safe and
Right.
alive, right? So
Right.
I mean, I've done things even like, which is now that I think about it, it's kind of crazy. But I've done things like if I see somebody pulled over that I don't even know, and it happens to be a black person, I'm just gonna pull over
Oh yeah.
and just hang out.
I do it too.
I've been yelled at for that. I've been
Yeah.
told I'm gonna be arrested.
Yeah.
I'm obstructing, all that.
Yeah.
All that fun
But that's
stuff.
necessary. And I'm seeing more and more people in our city do that.
Yeah.
Where like I'm not the only one who's pulled over. Somebody else has stopped and we giving thumbs up
Yep.
and checking in. So it's good to see. I think 2020 really opened a lot of people's eyes more. So
Man,
like
did it.
folks needed a refresher. Because like, you know, my age and older, we remember Rodney King and seeing that and being like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like they're whooping his ass. I can curse on here?
Absolutely.
They're whooping on him bad. And like, so then we saw that, we saw the aftermath. And so like we know, and those of us who live the day to day, we know how cops get down anyway. But I think a lot of the people who really think that police are heroes needed an eye opener again of like, nah, man, they're really some bullies and like the biggest gangs out here.
Yeah.
And so I think it was good in that aspect that more of your I'm not racist people are like, yeah, but what else can I do now? And more people who were like, I think a lot of people shifted, whether they shifted more right or more left. A lot of people
That's a fact.
after that shifted.
Yeah.
But something that we noticed, well, that's...
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I work with Atlas Defense doing firearms training, like permit to carry classes. We also do situational awareness, de-escalation, some like escort holds. But something that my trainer Manuel noticed after the uprising was that there was, during any major event like that, there's always a spike in purchase of firearms.
Yes.
But with this one, there was a spike in purchase and a spike in training. So more people were actually training with their firearms versus just like, I got a gun.
Yeah.
Which I think was dope because that tells me there's more mindful gun owners.
Yeah, which we need.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And so yeah, that's been a positive to see. You know, the guns it's a double-edged sword. You know what I mean?
Is it the biggest? Yeah. It's the biggest double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't really want people to be able to have AR-15s, right?
Right.
I don't think it's necessary.
Right.
And they are a major reason behind a lot of violent, very unjust, unnecessary violence, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, if they got them, I kind of want to have one.
That's the only reason I have one.
Yeah.
Because they got one.
Because they got one, right? You know what I mean? It's like somebody comes at you with the AR and you got a 9.
It's tough.
But that's another thing too I was thinking about yesterday. I'm glad you brought this up. I saw, I was listening to something. I don't even remember who I was listening to, but some song. It was a rap song or whatever. And I think it was on Pandora or some shit, so I don't really remember who it was. But they said something about I got 100 shots, and it's like, you shouldn't need 100 shots. You should learn how to shoot that motherfucker. Like
so many rounds.
You know what I'm saying? Like, learn how to shoot that motherfucker, and you won't need 100. Like,
yeah, my everyday carry holds 13, but I also have another everyday carry that holds 7.
Yep.
Because I'm not looking to do any offensive shooting.
Right.
And anytime that I envision having to use my gun, it's like I'm defending my life or someone that I'm responsible for, or I'm trying to get away.
Yes.
And so like for me, going to the range with the AR and sitting down there's a range that I'm a member at. Shout out to South St. Paul Rod and Gun Club. They've always treated us well over there.
Okay.
A lot of these places don't, because this culture ain't for us. Yeah. But South St. Paul, we've never felt or had any weird vibes. But they got their rifle range. You sit down and you put your rifle on some sandbags, and you're shooting down range, and it's 50 yards, 100 or 200 yards.
Yeah.
And I just got hip to the fact that I can shoot my rifle at the pistol range, which is like 7 to 15 yards. I thought you could only do pistols over here, and for me, I'm not. What do I need to get good at shooting 200 yards away like that?
Cool.
It's cool, but it's not. I'm not posted up trying to snipe somebody.
Yeah, if you shoot someone from 200 yards away, that ain't there's
no defense.
No world is that defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so. I have guns for 2 reasons: for defense and because they're fucking fun.
Yes.
But it doesn't. It hasn't changed. Carrying a gun has brought my reactions to things way down. I used to be a guy who would somebody do something on the road crazy. I'm gonna pull up. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up and look, and I'm gonna exchange that energy. But now I don't, because I know that I have to remain an innocent party if there ever comes a situation where I need to be able to use my gun, and I lose my innocent party status as soon as I give that look and exchange that energy, because now I've popped something off. So for me, when I carry the pistol, I'm
calm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny you say that, because when you said that, the first thing I thought was my road rage is down.
Way down.
And it's for that reason, and then also because you know what you got.
Right.
For one, you don't know what they got.
Boom.
But then the other part is, by you having that, you are committing to going to a place.
Right.
If necessary, right? So if this person decides they're going to get crazy and they're going to get out their car with a crowbar and start breaking out your glass, you know where you're going, right?
Yep, and you're putting yourself.
And I would rather not have to go there. So I'm just, you know what? You cut me off.
Yep.
You win.
You got it.
You got it. Congratulations. You
got
beat me to the light that we're both going to stop at now.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you know. sounds like we're responsible gun owners. There's a lot of people out there that they're out there looking for a road rage incident so they can pull that shit out.
During the uprising because I never had a gun. I was a drinker, a bad alcoholic for a long time, and I was always like, I don't need no gun.
That's a good idea.
Because I'm a fucking moron. Then I quit drinking, but I was still very angry, and I was like, I'll probably use it. I don't really need one. Well, then the uprising popped off, and we live in between the 3rd Precinct and George Floyd Square, but closer to, on the opposite side of Hiawatha, but closer to the 3rd Precinct.
Okay.
And I live right off of 35th, and so people were like, our shit was kind of spicy. Mm-hmm. People were parking and then going over to Target or going over to that area. Yep. And so I didn't have a pistol.
Yeah.
So then I had to borrow a pistol. So then now I'm walking around with a pistol with no license, which whatever, there was no police
at that time.
At that time, it was whatever. Yeah.
Than not have it at all.
So then when I went to get my license and I was kind of shopping around, I mean, there's people out there just signing your cert, bro, for $100.
Yep.
You're not going through a class. You're not even going to the range with them. They're just signing your cert. That's fucking scary.
Those people are still certified.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that is a little terrifying. So you recently, you won an award.
I did.
Can you talk to me about the award?
So like a year ago, October, I was driving my wife, who worked at downtown St. Paul at the time, to work.
Condolences.
Right. She doesn't work there anymore. And we're coming down Rice, south on Rice, and I got to Larpenteur, and I heard what I thought was some shots, but I recognized them to not be real close, so I wasn't really tripping. And we come to that next light right there. We're like, it's called Walebski's now, but it used to be Cancun. Shout out to all the old heads, Cancun.
I remember Cancun.
Come up to that light, and there's a speedway off to the right there. Mm-hmm. And I see some cats like running into the speedway like they're trying to get away from something. But I'm looking, and I don't see anything else. I don't see a shooter, nothing. My light turns green, so I start to go, and this van pulls out in front of me, and I was like going crazy. So he blows his red light, turns on in front of me. Now he's going south on Rice, the same way I'm going. I know the chief of police said that I followed, and I was trying to see what was going on. No. This dude just happened to be going the same way that I was going. So he's driving erratically, so I kind of slow down, and he pulls over just down the block in front of the AutoZone just before the McDonald's. And I pull over a little bit because this white dude jumps out, and he's bleeding crazy from his arm. He had got shot like right in the wrist. So he's bleeding crazy. Some people's coming out of the AutoZone. I'm checking my mirrors to make sure nobody's chasing him. Then I hop out with a towel, and the first thing I said to him was like, bro, do we need to move from here? Is somebody chasing you? Like, what's cracking? He was like, no, I'm not from here. I don't know who that was. He just walked up on my van and started shooting. Now, sidebar, I found out later that, yes, the dude who shot this gentleman has a history of mental illness, history of violence, and he told the police that he thought this guy was masturbating in his truck, so he walked up and just started shooting at him. Well, they ended up, and why the police, so back. So I tie him off above the elbow with the towel, and the man is so hysterical and animated. He's calling his girl, he's calling his boss, and I'm trying to tell him, yo, you need to calm down, you need to try and sit down, bro, and just, because like you're just pumping all of this blood out of you, and blood's going everywhere.
Yeah.
Somehow I didn't get any blood on me. I don't know how that happened.
Wow.
So he's still leaking crazy, so I run back to the van and get a shirt, and then I tie him up underneath his armpit, and now I hear sirens. So I'm like, all right, cool, somebody's coming to tag me out.
I'll buy you.
First squad. I counted 9 squad cars. I'm talking about I'm in the middle of Rice, 4-lane street, like, yo, and they're just zooming. Now at the time I didn't know that the shooter had gotten himself cornered back up by the scene, put the gun in his mouth. There was a 90-minute standoff. They end up taking him in without incident. I didn't know that at the time. I'm thinking the sirens are coming because my wife called. I'm sure some of these AutoZone people called. So I don't know the shooter's up there. They're just zooming past me. Finally, ambulance and a cop stops. They take him. They get my information. And then I get a call later that night from one of the cops that was on the scene, and he was like, yo, the surgeons, we had to rush him right into surgery, and the surgeon said the bullet severed his main artery, and had you not stopped, he would have died right there on the boulevard.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, damn, that's crazy. And I know that, like, for most people, that's like a holy shit, Alex. You saved this dude's life. That's the tops.
Yep.
And I recognize the weight of it, but it's not the first time I've helped a gunshot victim, not the first time I've potentially saved somebody's life. And it's sort of like, if I'm going to talk about we don't need police, then I have to have some sort of I have to be able to do something in partial replace
that the police are supposed to be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, jumping out and helping somebody is like sort of what like I trained to do, and it's just in me. So while I recognize the weight, this is sort of like I was like, damn, that's cool. We're just gonna, we'll get back today. I got to go to work tomorrow.
Wow.
So then I got a letter from Chief Todd Axtell that was like, hey, we want to give you this Medal of Valor, blah, 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 blah. And I do not fuck with the police. I'm ACAB. I don't think we need them. And so I was like, right away, I was like, nah, I'm cool. Because I don't need no validation from y'all. So time went on. St. Paul Police had a changing of the guard, and there was a new interim chief, Jeremy Ellison, something like that. I don't know. I got a letter from his office. So this was important to them.
Wait, is that a relation to Keith Ellison?
See, I think it's Ellis. It was a bald, shorter white guy. So I don't think. So this was important to them. It went through 2 chiefs to get another letter. Hey, we want to do this.
Yeah.
So then I was like, all right, I'll agree to do it if I can make a statement. And they're like, oh yeah, no problem. We're gonna do it inside in the blah blah. I was like, no, I don't really. Can we go outside? Oh yeah, no problem. We're not gonna have any press. They said. I said, well, I'm gonna bring a camera. So I shot it out to my man Toussaint Morrison, who runs on-site public media. I was like, hey, can we get a camera over here? No problem. Had the camera person show up. The day comes, and I didn't know. I had a bunch of ideas. Like, I wanted to bring a bunch of people who I thought was heroes just from the movement.
Yeah.
I wanted to do all of these things, but then I was like, nah, fuck it. I'm going to just go up here, say a few things, and bounce. So on that day, aside from wanting to touch on the amount of police that passed me, I wasn't really sure what I was going to say. But I knew I had that shirt on.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, I took the hoodie off, and I saw a few like shinning and grinning kind of chuckles, but I tried really hard not to, and I almost derailed and focused on one dude who was like laughing, but I looked above everybody. I wasn't looking at any of them in the eyes.
Was it laughing at you or laughing with you?
I took it as like at me.
This guy's a joke.
Yeah, or like, oh, look at this fuck.
This guy, yeah.
The black people and their white supremacy all the time.
Yeah.
So I disengaged, and I was looking above because it was just me, my wife, and the camera person there for me.
And you had that hoodie on?
No, I had a different hoodie on. I had a
because that's wild. If you
always film the police. This is Mr. Checkpoint out of L.A.
Yeah,
he does good work.
Yeah,
Shout out to Mr. Checkpoint. No, I had my Reviving Roots therapy, locally black-owned therapy.
Okay. Get
Get all your therapy needs from Miss Marley. So I had that. Then I took my hoodie off, and I had the Smash White Supremacy shirt on, which I've had. I didn't have it made for that.
Yeah.
Like I've had some shirts made previously for myself, and I just told them there was a potential of 18 police that rode past me, and that was a potential for 18 people to stop and help preserve life, but y'all went to the potential of a threat.
Yep.
And I said, I recognized that the man had a gun.
Yeah, but you maybe didn't need 9
No.
cars.
And I've had some like a coworker of mine, son is a 911 dispatcher in another state, and he said they're getting radio call. They know what's happening as they're driving. And so somebody should have peeled off.
Somebody should have.
But when you got somebody with a gun, man.
Yeah.
This might be the time.
Shit. This is why we signed up.
But I thought y'all signed up to be heroes and like save people.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that they're. I mean, I know that those cops are out there.
1,000%.
Those cops are out there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
they can't be good cops.
They're still part of the gang.
Right.
Still part of the gang, so you can't. You know what I mean? It's like if a member of the blood gang has never done a crime or shot somebody, like you're still a blood.
And you might still get wrapped up in that RICO charge.
Yeah, you will. You likely will. I mean, we're seeing it.
Yeah.
It happened to Gunna.
Yep.
AKA Gunna Tell.
Yeah. Eesh.
I mean, well, it looks like everybody's
gonna
tell now.
But look, Charleston White is not somebody I would tell anyone to really listen to or follow. But he said, well, you got a group of 27 dudes. Only 2 of them is solid.
Yeah.
The rest of them is gonna fold at some point because you can't have. Because if you got more than 3 or 4 or 5 solid dudes, they're gonna break off and do their own thing.
Exactly. Yep.
That's scary, bro.
Yeah. So most of them guys that are under you or whatever they are to you, they're gonna tell. Yeah. They're gonna tell. Bro. It's a whole different. Look, it's a whole different story when you're sitting in that precinct and they're telling you that you are done.
40 years minimum.
Gone. You ain't gonna see your kids no more, your girl no more, your mom no more. Your parents are probably gonna be dead by the time you get out. Like, bro, it's a whole different.
But the way I look at that is
pressure right there.
I had a brother tell me, who's done some Fed time, if you're not ready to go to prison or die behind whatever it is that you're doing, you probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah, it's a fact.
And that's real, like, gangster shit. And like, I was at the barbershop last week or whatever, and one of the OGs was like, these young cats is doing gangster shit, but they don't have the gangster heart or the gangster mentality, so that when the repercussions come with doing gangster shit, they're folding. Yeah. Because they have access to do all of the gangster shit but no heart and no head.
Yeah, and that I don't know what to make of it or even how to necessarily discuss it, but like the people that we look up to in black culture are kind of you're starting to see like snitching is not as big of an indictment anymore. It's like it's becoming normalized now. It's like I would not have guessed in a million years that 6ix9ine would still be out here walking around. I thought he was done. out here. Somebody was going to get him. I really thought that.
But then on that, in the same time frame, was it Rich Porter who came home and got killed?
That's true.
Or Al?
But he was grandfathered into that.
But I mean, so there are still people out here who take it seriously.
There are.
And they're probably a little bit older than us.
Right, but what I'm saying is, so the younger generation is looking at the guys like Gunna and 6ix9ine.
And being like, yo, I would have did the same thing.
Yeah, I'm rolling.
But that's what I don't, like, I don't live that life.
Yeah.
I've definitely not always been a person who could work in a school.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never been on a real street shit and a real gangster shit. And so anytime I went to jail was because I was on some drunk shit.
Yeah.
I got 3 DWIs. Countless disorderlies that could have been assault charges, all kind of, warrant shit when you're in your 20s and a fucking maniac.
Yeah. Look, on camera, I'm going to go TI on this real quick. I snitched once.
Ooh.
I was 14 years old. Me and my buddy were out stealing shit out of cars.
Yep.
Cop showed up. He got away. I did not. They took me to the precinct and said, look, tell us who you were with, and you're getting all this. And I was like, okay. Told on him right away. That was when I learned about snitching.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can't do that. For one, they're not going to do that. And for two, you can't do that to your buddies, man.
Yeah.
Y'all chose to engage in this together.
That's the part that I don't, that's the part.
He got away.
I try to tell these kids at the school that I work with that, like, saying who stole somebody's phone is not snitching.
No.
If you and him, like you and your buddy, went in and stole this person's phone together, and then you got caught, but he didn't, and you told, that's something different. But if y'all are going to print, like if you have real chances of going, the little shit that these kids talk about,
I'm a civilian, man.
Me too.
I'm snitching. Don't do no illegal shit in front of me. I'm telling. I'm just kidding.
I'm not. I don't see anything. I don't hear nothing. I don't say nothing.
I don't either. I
keep myself away from that.
And I teach this to my kids as well, and sometimes they take it too far.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you should have told me that. Would you told me that?
Yeah.
All right, but that one I needed to know.
Yeah.
What do
There's a fine line.
Yeah, there's a fine line.
How old are your kids?
16, 13, 12, and 8.
Okay. I've got 11, 18, 20, and 27.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
That's a strong group.
Yeah. We have 3 at the house. The oldest, he lives in the UP.
Okay. What's the UP?
Upper Peninsula, baby, Michigan.
Okay.
Bro, I had no idea you could be in Michigan in 4 hours.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Driving through Wisconsin.
Yep.
Get up, and so him and our nephew live up there.
Boy, you got boys, girls?
I have 3 boys and a girl.
Okay. I got all 4 boys.
Oof.
I'm molding men.
Yeah, it's interesting being a girl dad.
Yeah, couldn't do it.
Yeah. So
different level of respect for y'all, man.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough thing because I've not always been a good guy to the ladies. Not always. Yeah. Being with my wife is the first time that I've ever been faithful. I'm sorry, ladies. And damn it, I should have did it earlier because this shit's easy. Like not having to remember shit, not having to worry about where your phone or none of that. That feels great. Yeah. But being a girl dad in that aspect is tough. But she's a pretty good kid. We've just been supporting her through a loss. Her boyfriend Elijah Payne was murdered in a double murder in St. Paul, December 12th. Him and his buddy David Johnson were murdered in downtown St. Paul. And so we just had the service. His mother just had the service on Thursday. Okay. And so
condolences. That's tough.
Fuck, man. It is. I've been to many funerals, and I've even been to another child's funeral, but this was something different. And like the
How old were these gentlemen?
David got murdered on his 18th birthday, and Elijah was 21.
Okay, I remember the story now.
Yeah. And the outwardly expression of grief was intense. Yeah. And we chose not to bring our 11-year-old for that reason, because I figured it was going to be tense, and there was also like a potential for bullshit because at his friend's funeral, it got kind of chaotic, and there was some fights amongst girls and all this shit. And but it was a beautiful service. He looked like he was sleeping. They did a really great job. But yeah, supporting her through that has been difficult. But I often tell her like, you're steering the ship. I'm just making sure you don't hit any icebergs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough, man. Death is I'm not good at death. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I view death probably differently than most. This is not a conversation we should get into because it'll be a 3-hour podcast.
Right.
But,
Well, I'll come back.
Yeah, you can definitely come back.
Yeah.
So, I guess to kind of put a button on things, how do we? You say that you don't believe that we need police. You're anti-police. Mm-hmm. I think at one point I probably felt that way. Mm-hmm. And then have maybe come around to, I think we need police, but I think we need massive, and I mean massive police reform.
Right.
To the point where I'm not even sure if it's possible.
Right.
To reform the way that it's needed.
Right.
I don't believe you should be allowed to police a community that you're not a part of.
1,000%.
Like it makes no sense to me that you could be born and raised in
Ham Lake.
Ham Lake, great example. And then you're policing the north side of Minneapolis.
Crazy. Doesn't make sense. You've never interacted with these people in your life.
At all.
And now you want to come enforce rules.
Yeah, you've barely even seen minorities.
You've never been punched in the face yourself.
There you go.
And you are supposed to show up to a domestic?
Yeah. Or even worse, there were 6 black kids in your high school.
Yeah.
And one of them is the only one that ever punched you in the face. And now you have that's all black people to you now.
Oof.
And now you got to go police in a predominantly black area.
Yeah. So, like, how I look at it is like, and I don't have a plan necessarily, but I see it as like an incremental, because like a guillotine drop down, no more police, that's fucking insane.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be the Wild Wild West.
Yes. Sure. But an incremental defunding of them and putting funds on what I call like the front end, prenatal care, early childhood development, high five programs for the middle schools, and as you get older, summer programs for the youth, jobs. Because I think what the issue, a lot of the reasons why police get called is because there are one or more very emotionally unregulated people that are engaging in some sort of emotional expression, right? We'll just make it super basic. And a lot of times these folks have never been able to form their frontal lobe fully, which houses your flight or fight response. And if that's never formed and this thing is always exposed, your everything is a 10 response. Your executive function of like, if this then that doesn't work, you're thinking only right here, right now.
Yeah.
Which is a ton of the kids that I work with, right? And they're EBD or ODD or ADD, whatever.
What are those?
EBD is emotional behavior disorder,
okay,
which is not recognized anywhere, but in the school system, it's not recognized by the DSM, none of that shit. It's just made up because scary white folks didn't know how to deal with kids of color who have big emotions. ODD is oppositional defiant disorder. That's fun.
I think I got that.
Probably. You seem like the type.
Yeah.
And then we know ADD, right? Attention deficit disorder.
We all got that.
Yeah.
Give me some drugs.
Right. And so I think if you put money on the front end and help these babies be given a chance to have their brains fully develop and then have that same sort of guidance all the way through, by the time they're 14, 15, 16, we have more people who are emotionally regulated, understand that not everything needs a 10 response, know if I do this, this might happen, and have some time to think, then we don't need as many police, right? And as that goes on, maybe that's part of the answer. I think you'll always need detectives because there's still going to be shit happening.
Yes.
But I don't think we need an occupying force.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good,
right?
I mean, and like, obviously, I want things to improve. I would think that we all do.
But if, obviously that's not.
It feels so unattainable.
It does. Then let's start getting more people in the positions who, make it tax free for them to live in the city, or their kids' 2-year school is paid. Give them some incentive, to be here.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's plenty of people who, a lot of kids, probably not anymore, but like my age or older, when we were kids, if you asked us what we wanted to be when we grow up, police or firefighter was at the top of the list a lot of the times. And so I think that if we have to have them, it needs to be a thing where I'm being pulled over by somebody who I might have went to school with.
Yes.
And there's going to be negatives to that too.
Of course.
But if he kills me, he's got some answering to do to people that he knows.
Yeah.
I don't know. I say fuck him, and I don't.
Yeah, I'm mostly with you. I've never been a big fan of the police. I don't recall ever having a good exchange with any police officers, and I've had quite a few. I've seen police do horrible things.
Right.
I've seen, I've never been a fan of cops. And
No.
My problem personally is I don't view you as a cop. I view you as a man or a woman. I don't care about
cops.
I know, and I don't care about your little uniform. Like,
right.
I'm a man, like you're a man. You bleed like I bleed. you're not going to come to my window talking crazy. And I get that that's something that I can do.
Right.
And you maybe can't do.
No, not in the same way.
Yeah.
I have to be mono-emotional like I was in that speech.
Yeah.
Had I come up to that podium and started being emotional and, rightfully so, being angry or whatever, the whole message would have been lost.
It would have.
Even the fact that I said riots work at the end had a lot of people like, yo, you're bugging.
I mean.
But nothing in this country, nothing in this world has moved forward without
an uprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I mean, to the people that would, for one, you can't disagree. I mean, you can, but you're wrong. You're wrong. And you probably know that you're wrong.
Right.
In even your disagreement. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't like the sentiment riots work because they work, then listen to what's being said that's causing the riots. If you don't want riots to happen anymore, then fucking do something.
Pay attention and do something.
Do something. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't just black people out there rioting.
No. And the majority of fires and shit, we know that it was
bad actors. There was some.
So a lot of bad actors, and then I think we could. I think now having some insight and having been, so after the uprising, I sort of found my place in the movement. I used to have this big Ford F-350 crew cab, big fucking truck. Yeah. I got it in March of 2020, and then I had my neighbor, shout out to Andrew Broder. He doesn't live next door anymore, but he's a delight. Best neighbors ever. You can check out Andrew Broder's art on Andrew Broder's Instagram, and he's on Apple Music. He spray painted my truck, R.I.P. George, So then people started noticing me. I'd be up at the square, and then I got asked to be a sound truck for some actions we were pulling at the governor's mansion against the Proud Boys and other idiots that were out there.
I remember watching this.
So we pull up, but as we're marching to the governor's mansion, there's all these young white kids in black bloc who most folks would say are Antifa. And these young kids are like snatching American flags and burning them, and my wife and I are in the truck, and as I'm like, putting it along, I start crying because I'm like, all of these little young white kids out here are willing to go to jail, get beat up, potentially get killed in the name of smashing white supremacy, in that moment for me.
Yeah.
So while, yes, there was a lot of bad actors, there was a lot of kids who were lighting intentional fires to buildings that needed to be burned up.
Yeah.
And my mom, we live in a duplex, and my mom lives downstairs, and we live upstairs. And one of the nights, I had to close my mom's windows because the tear gas was so crazy, and she was coughing and shit. But it was tough for her to understand the anger, but also see things burning in our neighborhood, and trying to help her to understand that AutoZone is going to get theirs back, Target is going to be fine, Cub is going to be fine, Foot Locker, T-Mobile, the Sheridan, all of these places are going to be fine. The gas station that burned on 46 in Hiawatha, come on. That was way off. We know what happened there. You needed a new store. Yeah. And it's beautiful. Shout out to that store.
Hey, you need to cut that out. Oh.
Yeah, we might need to cut that out because that's me snitching, isn't it?
A little bit.
Oh, shit.
Snitchy. Snitch
adjacent. Yeah, snitch adjacent.
Snitch adjacent.
But helping her to understand that this shit needed to happen. Yeah, she's coming around. My mom's white from Cloquet.
Okay. Because I thought it was Cloquet.
Well, I'm fancy, so it's Cloquet. Yeah. Ah, oui.
Got it. So we need to wrap.
Let's do it.
But before we do, tell the people where they can buy your merch, where they can sign up to learn how to shoot a gun properly so they don't need 100 rounds.
Yep.
Give them all the information they need to find you and everything that you do.
Alex_does80 or Alex.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. That's my Instagram. I also have another Instagram page, Mr. Mingus, the #1, and it's really just me with children,
babies and
me
shit.
holding babies
Gotcha.
and shit. Yeah, the links in that. There's merch up. Not these hats. I do have some fire hats. I'm doing a collab with this dude. I don't know if I can talk about it yet, but I'm doing a collab. There's a hat coming. This hat I just had made for myself, but we're working on some things. There are hoodies up, T-shirts up.
Riots Work, Smash White Supremacy.
Yep.
What else? Didn't you have
Grow food, protect community, fight racism, and an FTP shirt. That was in homage to the NWA album cover.
Yep.
Atlas Defense is where we're doing firearms training. You can sign up there. I don't have any live classes, but if you reach out, Manuel can. We'll put some live classes up.
For sure.
Just look for me on there, and yeah, I'm in the city.
For
I
sure.
live on the south side. Born and raised on the north side, but we're Southsiders now, so
Hey,
you'll see me in the community.
I love both sides.
Me too. I'm a Minneapolitan.
Yes, facts. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I live in Ham Lake. No, I'm just kidding.
I was about to say this motherfucker. I appreciate you having me. This has been dope. I would love to.
We're gonna have to do it again because I know we have more. We have more to talk about.
Yeah.
But retention rate is a motherfucker, and I want to make sure people watch this shit.
Yep. No, I dig it.
For sure. So
I just passed 10 years alcohol free, so I got a lot of stories.
Oh, that's big. Amazing.
Thank you, brother.
That's
Thank
big.
you.
That's amazing for real.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time, man. I'm glad we could do it. Let's do it again soon.
Please.
And smash white supremacy
All day.
Please.
And fuck 12.
And fuck 12. That's it. Another episode of Minnesota's #1 daily show live on Lake Street. I'm Jake Faircloth. Follow me everywhere at Jake Faircloth1.
It ain't that I can't stop, it's that I won't stop. I made a few plays off a flip, now I'm on top. I'm Southside Chief, homie, yeah. What you know about it? Lake Street legend CEO, not the co-founder. What you wanna know about me? I'm so churched up, I'm the last man standing, but I went first up. Most hated, they don't say it when I roll up. The things that people say about me, they don't say close up. Check it.